Okay, I just wanted to put together a quick tutorial on how to run and connect the wiring for a reverse camera. My head unit's already installed. I know there's plenty of videos for that, so I'm not really going to touch base on that too much. But like I said, I couldn't find any videos for this, so I just kind of wanted to video it as I did it so I could post something for others in case it makes it easier for them. I'm going to have some affiliate links in the description to the gear and parts that I use. If you use that, it will make a little bit of money and it can help fund some projects. I'm trying to get some projects I can make some videos and kind of show everybody. I know I want to do an exhaust and some headers, a short shift kit. There's some videos on those, so we'll see if those are good candidates. But just want to kind of throw some stuff up there for other guys to see. So I don't want to take too much time, so let's just jump into it. Okay, so the car is a bit filthy, but basically what I did is I removed the two lights for the license plate, and I stuck my trusty snake through this hole once the spoiler is raised up, and I probably can't see it in video, but it's right up there. So what I'm going to use is my hook to snag it. You always make sure that your snake has a loop on the end and taped so it can't get snagged on anything. And this is just an insulation hanger that you make a little hook on. I'm a audio video guy. We use these all the time. You could use a coat hanger, but these are easy and they're straight and easy to work with. So I'm going to work on pulling that through now. So here you can see the snake hooked, coming straight through from over here. So just let that out. You can see there's a little loop on there, taped off. All taped and ready to pull. I'm just going to feed it in there. Carefully pull. Alright, let's try and get a better view. There we go. So we'll figure out how I'm going to route it here next. Probably down like this and underneath the light. Just got to see how it fits. Okay, so we are going to run the wire in through here. I already test fitted the light, fits fine. From there we'll make our connections in the trunk. That connect to here for power and ground. And then our video feed will already run through here. So you just push it through the foam. And that comes right through here. I did have to grab it with my needle nose. So I'll probably tuck it behind the foam. And we'll continue on. See where we gotta go. To remove the door sill, there's these little caps. Yes. Cover the screw holes, so you gotta pop them off. You can carefully do it with a knife without scratching. They just come right out. Sorry, having trouble getting the angle. So my trusty set does not work for this. So I had to find one that's a standalone, open-ended, so I could spin it, and it's pretty tight. I have to move the seat back and forth to get it into the different holes. Definitely be easier if I took the seat out, but I don't feel like doing that. So you can see it's just right against the seat. Okay, it's off. I should mention, I believe that's a 3/16. And you can see it just loosens those. So you can see how that just kind of seats into the screw. So you just got to loosen it a little bit so that it'll pull up, and then pull up, it clips in with these clips. You can see they just clip in, so you just got to pull up with a little force once you loosen those, and that comes right up. Okay, we're going to take this panel off here. Pillar panel. There's a Phillips screw down here. You can see it's kind of hard to get to with one hand. So I'm probably going to put the camera down for a sec. Okay, once you remove that screw, you just kind of keep tugging on it, give it some pressure, and the clips will come out. So that gets you kind of in there. You can see the seat belt is in there. So we can run our wire through. It's already in the compartment back there with a top stored, so we can bring it through here, bring it all the way through up to there. Okay, this part was a little tricky. I wanted to make sure we were out of the way of any of the top mechanisms. You can see it down there. So we have it run underneath. It was easiest to pull the top pins so we can raise the top a bit so we can get our hands in there, and then you can tuck it under there pretty easy. And where that comes out, once you get in there, it's kind of in the foam here. So it keeps it away from the seat belt, away from top mechanism, and then you can kind of tuck it around back here and just tuck it to down here. We can put that back, continue running it. And we're tucking it underneath this carpet, so you can see we're coming here underneath the carpet. This right here, you have to unclip. You just pull the stripping back a little bit, and it kind of clips in there. So you can see right there, it's clipped in. The rest of it just tucks under. So there, that's when you put it back. Make sure you route it around the poles if you have the manual releases like I do. I'm not sure how it looks in the electric. I think it's just one clip for power that goes to that. And then of course you have to make sure when you put this back that sits inside the pole for the release. And then you just do the same on the front to get it underneath the carpet. Gotta pull the panel and get it up underneath. Probably should have done the passenger side, would have been a little easier, but that's okay. You can see how everything comes apart and goes back together this way. Okay, we took the cover off of the electric panel. There's 4 screws. So there's 4 screws that hold that in to the panel, and it just basically slides right out. You just got to come kind of from this side because you have to get it around the switch for the spoiler. You can see that's wide open. We can get up into the dash, cross over there, pull the head unit, plug our wires in. So we're in the home stretch. Okay, when routing your wires up, just make sure when you get under the dash, you're away from any of the pedals. You can actually see the pedals. The mechanism's up there. You can see the steering. So you want to stay away from that. What I actually did, I don't know if you can see it or not. I just ran it basically tucked under these. I'll probably zip tie them to the tray that holds the manual. That comes straight across basically and right behind there. It's out of the way of everything. And I can button everything up from here back, and then we can take the head unit out and make the connections. Alright, sorry for the mess in here. I haven't been cleaning as I'm going. But to determine which wire you need to tap into for the reverse, just use your trusty test light, ground it with the car not started, put it in reverse. You can see our reverse light's on, and then you just go through until it lights. Which I already know which one it is. It's the third one over, which, see, that's on, which is, at least in my car, black and blue. So that's the one we're going to tap into. So let's just take it out of reverse. Turn her off. And then we have our wire here. So this is for the camera. We have our red, which we're going to tap into that. And we're going to use one of these so we don't have to cut it. If you haven't used these, they're pretty nice. Just put this around the wire. On this side, it goes around it. Again, I can't do it with one hand, but this goes around the wire. The second wire just goes snugly in there. And then you snap it in. It pushes this pin down. Pushes the pin when you snap this cover over it. And it will pierce the wire. And there's your connection. And I just got to run the ground here to a chassis ground. Okay, so our connections back here are as follows. Like I said, this clip, we've got it clipped onto the reverse wire, and then our power wire for the camera is clipped into the other side of that. That comes over to here. Our ground, which is also, it's tied together with that. I just pulled it apart. That comes down, and I'm hoping that's a good chassis ground and I don't have to take any paint off, so we'll see. And that's actually it for the connections. This red wire, the directions don't tell what to do with that. And I believe all that really is, it's a carrier that goes up in the feed all the way up to the head unit. And I believe that's if you want to use the camera at any time instead of just a reverse light. If you want to tap into a constant power source, I believe that you would use this. I'm not sure, you know, the difference between tapping into the reverse or this. I think one is if you want it to come on automatically with reverse, and another if you want it to remain on. I'm not 100% sure of that. I was trying to look it up and I was short on time, so I didn't finish that. Yeah, see the mess I got going on? So I'm just going to leave that like it is. I'm going to work on the head unit so I can test it before I button all this up. So on a 986, at least, to get the radio out, you have to pry these out. So you basically just get that in there and you pry, you go up, pops right out. Definitely do yourself a favor and order a set of these. I have a whole different array of them. They work for the clips in the trunk, for your head unit, for doors, everything. Definitely get a pair of those. So once you get that, you can unscrew. There's 4 torx screws. And that can pull the assembly out. This can be a little bit of a pain to be careful getting it in. My dash kit, you have to kind of maneuver a certain way because it kind of gets stuck on the bottom otherwise. But other than that, this pulls out relatively easy. So I should be able to make the connections relatively quickly and test it out. Here's another little tip. So don't worry about even taking pictures or keeping track of which one goes where, because they're all color coded. You can kind of see the yellow one there. There you go. So they're all color coded, so you know exactly what goes where. Now mine has traction control. I added a garage door button, which basically I have that soldered. It's connected to a garage door opener that I have tucked back there, which I soldered onto the board to open and close, which is pretty cool. All right, let me make the connections. So my particular head unit has 3 camera inputs. Looking on the back, you can see the 3 inputs on the right here, the yellow inputs. It's labeled 1, 2, and rear, the bottom being the rear. You can enable or disable them in the menu. You would use the rear for your backup camera. And the wire that you feed from the camera in the back, that just simply plugs right in. That and the little lead that you have to connect to the green wire on this radio, at least on this particular radio it's green. That is for detecting basically that your camera's powered on for your reverse camera. So those are the only 2 connections you need to make, and that's it. And I just want to quickly add the little carrier wire that feeds with that video wire, at least with this kit. That is the wire that you tie into the radio. In the back, I have it tied into the reverse light along with the regular power for the camera. So they're both tied into the same spot. If the video wire you have that feeds from your camera to your head unit does not have that little carrier wire, you simply need to run another wire along with it. It's just a basic wire. And that's basically it for connections. It's actually quite easy. Okay, a little bit of an update. So that small little carrier wire, the red wire that feeds on the video feed all the way up to the radio, my radio does require that. It has a reverse camera lead at the radio, so it needs to detect that or it doesn't work. So all it needs is to tie into power. Same thing, just needs the reverse light. You can also wire it to reverse switch, and it's just much more of a pain, especially since the wiring's right here. So we just crimped it in along with the power that feeds off of the reverse light, and that's it. The camera works. I'm going to get everything put back together here, and then I will show you the camera working. Okay, task is completed. We have... It's not focusing on it because it's black. There we go. There's our camera. Still have the spoiler up. Other than needing a vacuum, it's all clean. Can't really see anything anywhere. Close that after. Come inside. Can't see anything. Everything is back together. So we'll turn on the car. Put it in reverse. Right up. Now, sorry for the beeping. The only thing I don't like, I can't get rid of these 3 lines, it seems, in my head unit. I could get rid of these if I wanted to, but there's no reason to. Just gonna turn it off. So it's a little bit involved. The main thing that caused me trouble, believe it or not, is just this vent. This whole assembly comes out as a whole with this radio, with the mount. This is a pain in the butt if it comes apart, trying to get it back together, especially with limited light. I didn't want to take the top down because it's cold here in Connecticut. It's getting pretty chilly, so it's below 50. I don't want to take the top down. But on that, it's pretty straightforward install. The head unit's a Sony XAV X210. I believe that's the model number. The camera I have is a license plate mount. It's the it's AudioVox ACA 800. And like I said, pretty straightforward. Make sure that you connect that little carrier wire, if you use this radio, it may depend on the head unit you use whether you need that. It's my understanding not every radio does, but pretty much all the cameras that I saw come with that wire, so you're going to need to, in most cases you probably have to connect it. The one thing that I like is that, I'm not going to start to crawl the way, but you'll see that the head unit has a pretty long boot up. Maybe not, I guess depending on the radio, maybe it's not that long, but it takes a little while before I can play any music, or if I'm going to use Android Auto to get into GPS. This will time out, but I can get out of that. Then you can switch to your sources if you want, but go to your home menu. However, if we turn it off, let's get it to turn off. If I turn it on and go into reverse, it goes right in. So it's nice and quick for that, at least. So that's pretty much it. I will say, if you can do it with a lot of light, that'll help. Also, if you're going to do it in your garage, that's the space I have between the cars. So I had to be careful not to hit the Audi with the door from the Porsche. But I'll answer any questions if I can for anyone, but this is the first time I've done it, and it's not too bad. I think if you've ever installed any radios or anything, run any wiring in your car, amps, it should be very straightforward. It's actually easier than doing most of that stuff for the most part. So good luck. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments. So you can see the wire tucked. Just basically comes out right through the light housing and comes right behind to the camera, just right there. Okay, to get rid of those parking lines that I mentioned, we're going to go into settings. You just scroll to the rear view camera settings. They will show by default, so I realize these buttons will make them appear. You can go longer or shorter. This one will get rid of them. So for all 3 lines, you just select and just hit that, and that's it. They won't show up in the reverse view anymore in the camera. There you go. To get rid of these lines, you just cut wires that are at the camera. Shut that off. You just cut some wires that are at the camera. There's 2 wires, a blue and a green. That's for this particular camera. If you just cut those lines won't show anymore, and it tells you that in the directions that come with the camera. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, and of course go over and click subscribe. We're going to work on building some great DIY content for everybody to follow.